Hey everybody, welcome back to Concept Pending, the Heroes of Villains podcast. Today we have AC remotely on the desktop or on the laptop here. He's pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm pumped. Without coffee, but I'm pumped.
All right. And of course, Taryn with us here from licensing. And today we wanted to talk about one of the more recent marketing events, I guess, that we participated in with Lucas. It was a pretty fun event and something new this year that they hadn't done before, to my knowledge. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
Yeah. So 2024 is the year of the dark side, as Lucas has established. So there's been a lot of focus on the dark side from all storylines, top to bottom. It's also the 25th anniversary of
The Phantom Menace.
Episode 1. So, and I think we've discussed that a little bit in our past podcast, but yeah. So the Imperial March. Mm-hmm. Everybody here played a hand in that, but do you want to kind of just explain like what the Imperial March?
Yeah. So
was?
I imagine a lot of our fans probably follow Star Wars on social media. But you likely saw they had this big, huge marketing event that was kind of tent-poled by this stunt at the Empire State Building in New York City. It was pretty cool. Essentially, what they did is our good friend, Hayden Christensen. Hayden Christensen, our close personal friend, yeah. Hayden Christensen, pulled the lever activating Imperial March. So when was this? This was March 27th?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, like 28th, 27th, something like that.
Something like that. But so Hayden Christensen shows up to the Empire State Building. He flips a switch and Star Wars takes over the entire building. So if you guys were lucky enough to be in New York City, you probably saw the lobby get all decked out. There was an amazing light show on the side of the building that was recorded, so you can check it out online if you haven't seen it. It was amazing.
Impressive.
Yeah, it was so cool. I'm jealous I wasn't in New York to see it in person, but
Same.
the lives and all the content was good enough, I guess. But yeah, so it was just this really cool event. Like I mentioned, Star Wars totally took over the lobby. We were lucky enough to be included in that as well. So if you were able to check it out, you probably saw our new Thrawn bomber jacket. It just launched.
Yeah, so it just so happened that I guess Lucas had reached out to us about the event. We had been working on some Imperial stuff. We still have plenty to come, so stay tuned. But the Thrawn piece was actually developed as part of the Ahsoka series. Mm-hmm. Production was a little slow on that, so we were a little behind on the launch of Thrawn, which I don't think is a big deal because I mean Thrawn is like an evergreen in my opinion that and it's untapped in the market. So we had a couple really cool pieces, specifically the bomber jacket, and in addition to that, we had a ton of hype around our Vader bomber jacket, which our dear friend Hayden had worn at a recent convention. So there was a lot of hype there, and we're like, "Hey, this is perfect! Like, yeah, let's go. We want to be part of it." But I mean, I guess we should touch on like the obvious corny, like Imperial March concept. Like,
yeah, we should back up to. How did Lucasfilm even approach us about this? What was their pitch to us, too, right?
Well, and yeah, so everybody knows May the 4th, right? Like, it's just, obviously, it's a play on the date, and it's May the 4th and whatever, and everybody knows that. Let's just all agree we know that. Imperial March was like a new marketing opportunity to hit earlier in the season and to be focused on Imperial because of the year of the dark side. And yes, let's go back. And you want to explain how they pitched us?
Yeah, sure. So it was wild. I'll just start with that because we get an email that says, hey, we're going to be doing this marketing stunt. Do you want to set up a meeting to talk about it? And we're like, yeah, sure.
Of course.
Yeah, anytime somebody at Lucasfilm emails you and they ask for a meeting, you take the meeting. Yeah. So we don't really know what to expect. We get on this call and they start hyping it up like we're not already the biggest Star Wars fans ever. And they kind of are pitching it exactly how Doug said it, of we want another marketing beat to kind of tie back to this year of the dark side, and we really want to just focus on the Empire. The Empire doesn't always get as much love, so so they were telling us about, we want to have stormtroopers in New York City, and Doug and I our eyes just lit up like we were little kids, like, oh my gosh, stormtroopers in New York City, that sounds like a blast. And they just were telling us that it's going to be primarily this marketing stunt, but there's opportunity to have your product featured. There's opportunity to have product in a little gift bag for an influencer event that they were going to be throwing as well. But that also, there was going to be some call outs on StarWars.com.
Right.
So at the end of this conversation, I think all of us on the call were, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And so then, well, I mean, of those options, we're like, yes, we want our product there. Yes, we want to participate in the influencer event. And we had additional ideas of how we could build some things there. So our product being there is actually featured in the Empire State Building lobby and is still there, correct?
It is still there.
Today
As of
is
recording.
the 24th or 25th of
the
April?
24th of April.
Yeah. So it'll be there until May the 4th. So as Taryn said, if you're in New York, check out the Empire State Building. Our stuff should be in there. So there was that. And then across the street was the influencer event, which I guess was like some like open balcony thing. And they had a bunch of influencers from different brands attending there. And I guess music and drinks and blue milk and all of the rest, right? And I guess that's where everybody was able to view. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go, which sucks. Like, both of us were kind of locked up at that moment. But so what they did was they projected, like, Darth Vader, like, the entire height.
Like the entire length of the Empire State Building. It's insane.
Like, massive, like, Darth Vader, and then, like, the stormtroopers marching, and then I think they did, like, the trench run, like
I think they showed Darth Maul. Like, it was just kind of a collection of your favorite dark side Imperial characters.
So at the influencer event, we found that they were going to have these goodie bags for all of the influencers in which we could participate and like basically donate product. For influencers. And so we identified a few random Imperial things, right? Like it was like a beanie and we talked about gloves, but I don't know if the gloves did it. But anyway, so we pulled some stuff that we had extra inventory that we could send and participate in this event. I can't remember, was it 100 pieces?
Something like that, yeah. I don't remember how many attendees were there, but it's less than 150. It was a pretty exclusive affair.
Yes, it was. But then we also had this awesome idea of like creating a graphic that's specific to this event. The turnaround time was extremely tight. When they brought the idea to us of like the Imperial March marketing event.
I think it was the last week of February.
Yeah.
Like we
like
did
literally
not have
had
very
like,
much time.
Like 25, 30 days to get this thing done. So I mean, had we not had the Thrawn piece and the Vader piece and what we had already built within Imperial, we wouldn't have had anything. We wouldn't have been ready for any of it. But luckily we did and featured those things. Yeah. And a lot of times with like graphic t-shirts, we can turn those around pretty quick so long as approvals go smoothly and the production print and everything comes out right. That's where we like immediately started our work because we knew that would be like that would take the longest, right? So I don't know, AC, do you want to talk a little bit about like what our process was there to get that?
Yeah, I think we immediately recognized like a theme and like a way to go around it. I remember when I got the news that I was gonna work on that one. we already had like a quick concept that we wanted to pursue, and we went with that. I remember I was like, okay, so I'm gonna prepare these roughs, and then we'll go from there because we need their approval. So that way we'll win some time. So I did a quick roughs, and I think the first ones were involving Darth Vader in him, but then I think we got back from them not to use the characters or something like that. So we went back to the drawing board trying to save the same concept but with other items maybe, until we hit to the rock type of imagery that we ended up doing. I think it was like a meteor. It for me it was like something happened on Earth and just that piece of land just made it, through space.
Floating in space.
Floating in space.
Dude, I gotta tell you, I had one of the most bizarre dreams one time, and that's exactly what, like, the Earth, like, the continents broke apart and started floating out into space. Originally, what it was we wanted to have Darth Vader's helmet and the New York skyline, like, growing out of the top of his helmet. So it was like this really cool concept of like Vader in New York.
And we should say too that Doug kind of downplayed it, but you guys know as fans of Heroes and Villains that, we have AC here. He is an incredibly talented illustrator. And so one of the things that we really pride ourselves on and that Lucasfilm really loves about us too is our ability to do these custom illustrations. And so when Doug said on this call, or it might have been an email, I don't know, that's not important. But when Doug said, let's do a tee exclusive to this activation at the Empire State Building, everybody was all for it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, let's go,
yeah,
let's go.
Absolutely. So this, what started as the New York City skyline kind of growing from Darth Vader's helmet was meant to be only in those influencer gift bags. So we were only going to print those max 150. And so then those fans were going to have a little piece of history.
Yep. The true exclusive. Mm-hmm. And so AC, he drew up some roughs real quick. We had that conversation with that marketing group that had approached us that was spearheading the Imperial March marketing event. And they loved the concept. They're like, yes, Darth Vader's head with the Empire State Building and the skyline growing out. Like, that's awesome. And we had, references. And so they're like, yeah. We're like, yeah, this is cool. But then... Well, I mean, and it's still a cool idea regardless of who says what. When we got to the point of actually getting this concept approved through our licensor, they're like, and I understand 100% because we play in this realm all the time. Like, you don't mix real life with Star Wars, although, like, a lot of us live the Star Wars life, but the New York skyline does not exist within the Star Wars universe. And so that was kind of like, we're not going to do that. And so we had to pivot, like AC was saying, and it basically became this idea of like the New York, almost like an island of New York growing out of this like rock, like meteor, like he's saying, kind of chiseled Star Wars logo. So the Star Wars logo does exist in our world. So we can, and it doesn't exist in the Star Wars world. So it fit and it worked, and AC killed it really quickly. But we ran into some hiccups along the way.
As always, in licensed merchandising,
exactly.
It can never go that smooth.
And like, it's crazy. Like, everything is licensed. So, I mean, Taryn, do you want to explain like where we ran into the?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, like Doug just said, everything is licensed. Things that you might not even realize have a trademark on them do. So we learned through this whole process that there are several iconic buildings in New York City that have their own trademarks. They have their own license agreements. There is, I don't know if I can say beef, but I'm going to say beef between some of these buildings. I didn't realize buildings could have beef with one another.
They do.
But, you know, AC's original design had not only the Empire State Building, but it had, I don't even remember.
Well, it had the statue. Was the statue?
Statue of Liberty was in there, but
Yeah, wasn't it the Chrysler building?
the Chrysler
that's what it
Building,
was.
yes.
Yeah.
So the Chrysler Building and the Empire State Building have a feud, I guess. They're, you know, they are not friends, and so in order
They don't want to be seen in the same.
Together?
Yeah, they don't want to be seen together.
So what was an interesting process for me is, you know, we have the contacts that I deal with day to day that do approve our product, but then I had this extra level of, I had to talk to people at the Empire State Building, and they had to sign off on this design, and, you know, they were the ones that told us, take the Chrysler Building out, you know, Statue of Liberty is fine, but make it more generic because we don't like that building. No, like, we can't have that in here. And then we kind of talked about this a little bit in the episode that we discussed licensing in general, but then we had to sign a contract. We had to have an actual licensing agreement with the Empire State Building in order to use its likeness, which
It's crazy.
is crazy.
Like,
you know, we on a day-to-day we deal with likeness rights for people, right?
Like the ones that make sense, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
so, you know,
okay, it's
you can't use someone's face without their express
Right.
written permission. That totally understand. Didn't realize that was a thing for buildings.
I didn't either.
So we had to not only rush this design to get it approved, we had to rush a whole contract, and, you know, the whole thing was a whirlwind because we had only gotten maybe 3 to 4 weeks to make this whole thing happen.
And we had to have approval through both the Empire State Building and Lucas. I guess AC, they sent us like one vector of the Empire.
Of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They did send us that, and that was pretty much what we based the illustration for it.
Yeah, the building itself.
Yeah. It was crazy because you will expect, right, that those buildings and everything that you see in New York, you know, it's like pretty much public domain or something like that, you know.
That's what
But,
I mean.
But no.
Nope.
So
Certainly not the Empire State Building
And,
and the Chrysler.
Yeah, certainly not those two for sure. But we even had to quickly add an additional legal line for showing that we had
that's
the
true.
express permission from the Empire State Building to use its likeness. I mean, if you guys are used to seeing your Star Wars product, it always has copyright and TM, Lucasfilm Ltd, period. So we had to have that in addition to a little blurb about the Empire State Building.
Yeah. And I mean, we never intended to sell this style. So it was purely a marketing play for this project. And so AC, we created a white on black base, like a white print on black base for the event. And it was awesome and it killed it. And the Empire State Building was so excited about it that they wanted to order a style for their gift shop. Mm-hmm. We had to go back and basically invert the illustration, right?
Yeah, that's basically what we did on white tee for them.
Yeah. And so win-win. Like we had the event, we made the awesome graphic. Everybody that was there for the influencer event got that, and then we sold it into the gift shop at.
Yeah, and talk about another whirlwind of a project, because we thought we were making miracles happen by just getting the 150
what we got
printed.
done. Yeah.
And then, you know, we get this email of, we're so obsessed with this design, please let us buy it. And so then we not only had to get this.
We
get the
basically had to
approval
do
was-
it all over again,
Yeah.
but at least we had the art, and we had learned everything that we had learned. So I mean, it was a lot faster, but we had to then create a new style, create new art because it was inverted. So like, it's not as simple as like flipping a switch and making it black and white, right? But anyway, then submit it, get that approved, go through both the Empire State Building and Lucas, and do that all over again. So
And then print them all.
It was so nice we
and then
got to do
get
it
'em-
twice.
Exactly. Then print them all and ship them to New York City. And I think they arrived hours before
Before the event
the
started.
event. Yeah, so they had to quickly, put them out.
I think they've reordered since.
They have reordered, and
really?
they are still, as of recording, on sale at the Empire State Building. They'll
Sweet.
be out until May the 4th.
It wasn't a bad idea to anchor the composition around the Empire State Building.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, because I remember that was part of the process as well, just to make sure which elements or which symbolic elements from the landscape to use. But yeah, it definitely pay off to to use.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been just a generic skyline,
Skyline, yeah.
and we could have just left it at that. But we had to go above and beyond,
Yeah.
and learn that
there's a
buildings
will,
have.
there's a way. We figured it out. We learned stuff along the way. So
Oh my god, yeah. I know the composition changed a lot, because at first it was kind of mimicking this apple form or shape inside the composition, but they started to pull out buildings and elements, and I was like, oh yeah, that's not gonna jive no more. So
well, I think a lot of it was kind of generic. Like a lot of like background
Yeah, it
buildings and bridges were kind of like generic. We just made sure that the Empire State Building was the most prominent, and then
Yeah.
you had like the Statue of Liberty over there, so it's New York.
Right.
It worked out well, I think. So yeah, that was the Imperial March, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fun event. I mean, 10 out of 10 would do it again. We're really grateful that the team let us have this opportunity to participate. And
Well, like
yeah,
you
it's a good
said,
time.
if Lucas calls you and offers something like
Yeah,
that,
you take it.
You do it, yeah. Every time, because you don't know if it'll come back around if you say no. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly, yeah.
You don't want to burn that opportunity. I mean, so all in all, it was a successful event, and hopefully, will be a reoccurring event that we can participate in. I mean, them hitting the March and then May the 4th, and then we have all the content for the rest of the year, I think works really well. So, Lucas, if you're out there, yes, we will participate in any of the events going forward.
Yeah, make Imperial March
be ready.
an annual event.
Yeah, and AC's ready to draw something
yeah.
exclusive up at any moment. Stay tuned. We'll be talking about, obviously, May the 4th is very near at the time that we're recording this, but we'll be updating you guys with all the new stuff coming out. Y'all stay tuned, and make sure you follow, all those good things at Concept Pending. And as always, follow us on Instagram at Heroes Villains Brand, and check us out online at heroesvillains.com. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, AC.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a good one.